Okay.
The first guest of 2019 is one of the talents TrackMania has. Will this be the year where he break out and become one of the top players in the game? He's the guy from Sweden, maybe the future Frostbule or Karian. His name is Razer. Razer, how are you, man?
I'm doing fine. Waiting for upcoming tournaments, Man v Man and TMM and stuff.
Yeah. For people that might not know who you are, can you tell us who are you and what do you do in TrackMania?
So yeah, I'm Razer, and I am a player and a leader of Team Q. So I joined Q in 2014, and it became a part of the leader group pretty quickly. And then since the end of 2014 until now, basically, I have been leading the first squad of Team Q, except from some months in PKD.
For people that listen to the podcast, they know that I like to know the story about how people got into the game, because I feel like there are multiple ways. Some got recommended by a friend, some got their parents to buy it in a store. What is your way into TrackMania and what is your first memory from it?
So it was quite a bit ago, so I don't remember completely, but I think it was me and a friend. We were this was 10 years ago maybe, so I was 11, 12. And we found the game and we started to play at each other's houses for a few days a month. And then I played on and off until maybe 2010, before I joined a team called Grizzly, which was just a Swedish fun team in TMNF. So I was there for a few months and then I quit again. And in 2012 I tried to get back in the scene again. And then I actually applied for Team Q. But I wasn't good enough. Team Q they were a bottom team, in Division 6 in ESL or something. But yeah, I didn't make the qualifications. So I joined another team called NIW, Nordic Intelligence War, where I was for 4 months. And then I quit the game again. And then 2014 applied for Team Q. And since then, basically, I've been here.
People in TrackMania, they know that Sweden has a strong history in TrackMania. The years 2008, 2009 are probably the strongest one. Did those sort of Frostbule and Karian have any influence in you joining the game, or did you not hear about them before you actually joined TrackMania?
I was not really into the professional scene. I didn't know much at all about top players and stuff. But when I got into it, especially Frostbule, because he was streaming all the time, he was playing. Karin had kind of quit when I started, so I didn't really know him so well, but Frostbule was a main source of motivation, I would say. Especially from the first day when I played with him in the Nations Cup. I was so hyped, playing with a famous guy like him, and yeah, that was cool for me, first time.
So the question is, you are from Sweden. Who is the best Swedish player of all time? Is it Karian or is it Frostbule?
Oh, that's a really tough. I would say they're both good in different ways. Karian I think some people consider him the best because of simply his speed on some tracks. He could outclass the best players from just time attack. But Frostbule, I feel had a little bit more achievements from offline tournaments and stuff, but it's real hard to say. They're both very good in their own ways.
Yeah, that's for sure. When you joined TrackMania back in 2014 and decided to rejoin it, was your goal to become a good player that you are now, or was it to just enjoy the game and see where you ended up?
To be fair, I had no really plans. I just wanted to play TrackMania again. I wanted to participate in tournaments. And since I knew some players in Q and I had tried to get in there before, I just wanted to have fun in the beginning. And I was actually one of the worst players even then when I joined. We were a bottom team in Division 5. And with me, when I joined, there was also a lot of current players who joined at the same time. It was me and Adri and Harney, the leader of Venture. We all joined at the same time. But yeah, I really had no thought even about becoming one of the top players, really.
Okay, so the next question: you are one of the best players in TrackMania at the moment, but you're still playing in Team Q. Do you still plan on playing for Team Q in the future, or is your ultimate goal to, let's say, join a bigger organization, get more support, and maybe more coverage for your skills in TrackMania?
That's actually a very good question, and something that people have talked to me, like they told me, why don't you join a bigger team? Why don't you join M&M Venture and stuff? Like if I get the question, of course. But I feel like I've been in Q since 2014, brought the team basically from division, like lowest divisions in ESL, and I've been such part of it. So first of all, it's very tough to leave because, like I think I've been here for too long, basically. And then I don't really see any reason to join any, how do you say, online team. The only reason maybe would be to join an organization where I could get support for LANs and stuff. But I would still prefer to play online for Team Q. So yeah, I simply enjoy it too much to leave.
So let's say you can get a sort of a deal like Tween had back when he played for Asuba. He played team events for M&M Gaming and then went to events as a Asuba player. That is your ultimate dream in TrackMania, to have support for offline events, but still can play online events with your teammates in Team Q.
That would be the optional situation, I would say, yeah.
Huh.
Because then I would have the good of both things, but I guess that is hard to achieve.
So let's explain to people. Some people might not know what Team Q actually is. People might know Team Dignitas, Team Expert, M&M Gaming. What is Team Q? Where do you place yourself in team tournaments?
So yeah, Team Q, it's from the beginning it was only Swedish team. When it was created, it was actually created back in 2007, so it's one of the oldest teams. Maybe people don't know this, but yeah, but since the team got better and the scene got a bit smaller, we had to recruit players from outside of Sweden. So now it's basically a team with players from all around the world, and we're normally, since 2016 maybe, we are, I would say, top 12, top 10 team, with 2018 maybe a bit higher. We have never reached a final, but we have reached semi-final once and quarterfinals quite sometimes. Yeah, of course the goal is to reach higher, but there are some teams up there who are just too good at the moment.
What are those teams that you see sort of unbeatable or sort of hard to beat?
I would say at the moment we have M&M and Venture, who are really the top dogs. Like M&M, I don't think M&M has any weak player, which makes them incredibly strong. They have some carry players also, and Venture has just that motivation. And with Harney as a really good leader, motivating the team and recruiting he makes very smart recruitments, I would say. Players who are upcoming and who can perform better in the future. So those teams, I would say, are like, for us to beat them, we have been close sometimes, but we need to have a perfect day, and they need to be a bit weak if we can beat them.
You talk about Harney being good at recruiting players. How do you sort of go into the process of recruiting a new player, and what do you look for?
So when I'm recruiting players for Q, firstly I prefer to recruit players who are not in the top teams, because first of all, they want to join better teams. Like, I've tried many times with players who would be maybe the better in Q, but they instead choose better teams, which is, I mean, it's acceptable. So I need to go a bit deeper down in the system to find these real talented players who can maybe bring the team forward in the future after some experience. We have, for example, in the last time, we have Ariegon, who came from TMNF to Ane, and now he's with us. He was not really known when I recruited him, but I think people who follow the scene can see his potential. And then we have like also some other players who are not so strong like 3 years ago. For example, CC, but who is now, I would say, one of our best players and really consistent. So it's really, I'm looking for teams, for players a bit lower divisions, but who I think can improve in the future.
Okay, so you're looking at other teams. Let's say one player is good at online events and just get the records on these short tech maps. Would that player get into your radar, or would he need to play in smaller teams before he can join a team like Team Q?
To join our main squad, like there's a bit difference between main and second squad, but for the first team, just driving good on short maps is not really enough. We want to see a bit more than that, because people underestimate the importance of consistency, which you don't really get from just hunting maps. So we have some players who have gone from, like, recruited them from maybe a short server or something like that, and then they go to Q2, and when they improve, they later in like get the consistency, they go on to the Q1.
I had Scotsman on soon 1 year ago. He said he left a new era because being a team player, or being a team leader, sorry, stopped him from being the best player he could be. Do you think that being a team leader for Team Q stops your personal involvement in the game?
To be honest, I don't think so. I don't think I would become a better player by leaving Team Q as a leader. First of all, I have an example of that when I was joining PKD. They recruited me back in 2016, so this was like two and a half years already. And I was leader in Q then. I was probably one of the best players. And then when I joined PKD, I simply played very bad the entire time I was there. I don't know what it was. Maybe I just didn't feel at home. I didn't feel like I had the support, maybe. Because now when I'm playing like solo tournaments for Q, I really feel like whatever I do, people will support me, and like they help me to motivate myself for those tournaments. And it's really nice to have some players behind you who believe in you, but also can, like support if you do make mistakes and stuff. So I don't think so. I think I would not become a better player by leaving Team Q. But that's different from person to person, I guess.
So far, what is your hardest challenge as a team leader? Is there some challenge that you view as taking more time than others, or is the sort of a pink world in Team Q, everything is going well?
No, of course not. Everything is going well. But I think it really depends. If you do the hard work, like when you recruit people, you really make sure that they are the right people. You don't really have to take so much time to motivate them and to get them to the matches. I feel like I never have any problems with players not being trained or not showing up for matches. That never really happened, I would say. And that's just so much easier to handle a team where everybody do their part, and you don't need to like constantly tell them to train. And yeah, but I guess that's different from team to team also. And when you have such a team like I do, I don't feel like it takes much focus at all.
You say that you enjoy your time in Team Q so much that you don't want to leave it. But let's say that some teammates of yours get an offer and he leaves Team Q. Would you be okay with that, or would it need to be some sort of super team or top one team like M&M Gaming or Venture?
I mean, for sure, I would understand if people would leave Q for a better team, and that's something that I can't really stop, because people have their personal goals also, not just for the teams. And I'm actually surprised I'm actually surprised that players who are let's say like one of the better in Team Q, they get offers but they don't leave. Of course I would not like it, but I would support it. Yeah, it's different thing to maybe say.
Yeah. In December, we had the TrackMania Awards, and that is the main reason for not being any podcast as of late. But Your team was nominated for Team of the Year, and you had the player Aregon nominated for Most Improved Player of the Year. How would you sum up the year 2018? Is it the best year Team Q has ever had?
Performance-wise, I would think it is the best year we have ever had. In my opinion, we have had better lineups before, with the players such as Walvet, Slink, GTX, and Voot, just raw talent players. But this is the best player best year. I mean, for sure that we have had. And when you look at the team rankings before ESL, we were 5th, which really proves it, I would say. And yeah, I'm really happy about the performance we have done.
Is there any match that sticks out as the best match Team Q had as a team? Did you beat any giants in M&M Gaming or so on?
We've actually not managed to beat M&M Venture or eCorp at all. But during the PTC, the playoff tournament, playoff team tournament, I think.
Yeah.
We managed to beat PKD and Elementaries or MD on the way to the lower bracket semis, where we faced off against eCorp. And we won the first map, they won the second map, and then it ended with a 1v1 between Ariegon and Omnipots, where Ariegon actually started off by 3-0, but Omnipots came back and won. And I think in that tournament, it's the best performance we've ever done.
Let's talk about your year as a player yourself. Before Giant Cup 2018, I didn't know too much about you, but surely during that weekend, I think everybody knew who you was. What is your most outstanding or most memorable tournament in 2018? Was it the Giant Cup?
I mean, I have to say Giant Cup, but we can start off by Gaming Winterfest, which was my first LAN. It was in March, where I feel like I had the same level as Giant Cup, but when it really mattered, I lost it in the lower bracket semifinals. I finished 9th, but I felt like I had so much more to give there. And then we have the tournament which maybe people don't know so much about, the Summer Tech tournament.
Yep.
Which was organized by Mortsith, where I also played pretty well. Ended up in a semifinal against both Carl Jr. and Tween. We were seeds 1, 2, 3, so it was a bit unfortunate. And I lost the last round against Carl when we both were finalists. So that's a bit sad to like be with those two in the semifinal. And then of course Giant Cup, where it felt good to finally prove that despite people trading for TMPL instead, maybe I think I proved that I can fight with the top players and actually beat almost everybody. So that was really the top of the
But now that you look back at it, it's some months ago that it happened. Do you feel any, I don't know, that you're disappointed that you didn't make it into the grand final? You finished 5th, I believe, or 6th, so pretty close to the grand final. Is that a goal that you have for, let's say, 2019, to make it into an offline grand final?
I think that would be a fair goal, because I also feel like I did my worst match in the consolidation final, the Giant Cup. I played much better in the earlier matches. But yeah, I think the goal could be to reach a final if I even go to a LAN. That is not 100% sure yet. But yeah, I think that is a fair goal.
Yeah, let's talk about 2019, and you said that it's not sure that you will attend to any offline events. What needs to be in place for you to go into Gaming Winterfest, Gamers Assembly, or other potential offline events?
Well, if we look into the spring, we have Winterfest and Gamers Assembly, and for sure I will not go to Winterfest. First, it doesn't connect with my school very well. I have important stuff like just that weekend. Plus, the experience last year was not like top notch, and it was actually really close that the tournament got cancelled like we started to play at 5 p.m., which is 7 hours left, 7 hours late. So yeah, I don't really want to risk that happening again. So yeah, the main focus is Gamers Assembly,
Yeah.
but it's not written in stone yet. But I hope to go there.
Yeah, let's talk about a bit about gaming Winterfest. I feel like some people might not go because of the technical difficulties from last year. How was it actually to be a player when you had a 7 hour delay? How did you stay focused? Did you have the opportunity to go back to the hotel, or did you have to stay in the playing area the whole 7 hours?
Well, the problem was that they constantly said that they were gonna fix it within half an hour, so we couldn't really go anywhere. Like not even to eat somewhere. We had to stay at LAN, and just and since we had no internet, we couldn't even play against each other on the servers. So it was just, what can you do? You can just sit there, wait, talk to people, and eat, and just hope for the problem to be fixed, which is a bit frustrating.
Okay, so not potentially going to an offline event this year, but how does the year for you look? What is your goals? What events do you plan to attend to, and so on?
Well, the closest one is man versus man this weekend.
Yeah, man.
Which is a solo tournament, 1v1 tournament, where I am hoping to do good. The problem is that out of the 3 maps, I'm actually very bad on 2 of them. They really don't fit me at all. But I think it will be different when we play the matches. But yeah, it's not the best situation in that aspect. But I think I can do good either way.
You have any sort of because it's 1 versus 1, it's gonna be head to head. Is there any player that you don't want to face off against before the grand final, let's say?
When I'm looking at the registrations, like the best players are playing they're focusing on the TrackMania Champions League.
Yep.
And there is not really any player who I would want to avoid. Perhaps the one would be Omnipots. But I think I have a very good chance against all players, really. So it's just up to the day, and stuff can happen. I can lose to someone worse, and I can beat someone who's better. You never know.
Yeah, start of the year with winning the first tech event and joining the names like Carl Jr., Pack, and Tween in the winners of Man vs. Man. But what is it, in your eyes, what is important to think about when you play a 1 versus 1 instead of normal 1v1?
Well, I think it is a much bigger mental game in 1v1. You need to really, you need to get into your opponent's head and force them to make mistakes. Fun story is actually that in my first 7 1v1s, I lost all matches. Like in ESL and all, I lost my first 7 1v1s. But since then it has gone a bit better, I think, because I drive a bit more safe. Like, even when you lose the first 2 rounds, if you don't crash, you make the opponents a bit more nervous, because he knows that if he makes a mistake, he will lose the round. So I just try to stay consistent and just never crash unless I have to super risk or something. So yeah, and I think people underestimate the importance of consistency in 1v1. You just say, "Oh, the fastest player will win," but I think it is more important to simply not crash, and then you hope to win the close rounds.
Let's talk about, you mentioned the Champions League and the pros focusing on that event. Yourself, you did not play the Nordic qualifiers. Is there any reason why you don't want to attend to this event?
Well, first of all, I'm pretty bad on endurance and non-tech tournaments overall. Maybe because I don't really play them, but I also feel like this is not a tournament I would enjoy to play for 4 months. I think it would take a lot of resources which I could focus on Team Q and solo tournaments instead. And yeah, it's just I think I took the right decision to not attend the qualifications, because it really is nothing for me, and it's not really the tournament I had hoped for when it was announced that it was going to happen. So yeah, that is the main reason.
What tournament did you have your eyes on or dreamed about entering TrackMania?
I was hoping to stick with the tech, basically. Like, okay, if you could have an endurance race but with tech maps, that would be fine to me. I probably would play then. But this is mostly tech, but I just feel like I would not enjoy to play it at all, and I wouldn't be good either. So I see no point in attending.
So, but are you still gonna follow this as a spectator and have an outside view, or let's say?
Yeah, for sure I will follow it, because I still think it is interesting to follow the best players, and maybe the format is not so interesting, I would say, because you just like one match is 15 minutes, but yeah, I will follow it for sure.
They say that this is a format for introducing new players to TrackMania. They say the reason 1 versus 1 versus 1 versus 1 is too complicated and tech event is too complicated. Do you believe that this is the right way to attract new people into TrackMania and make them understand the game easier?
Oh man, that is a really tough question. I mean, I understand the purpose behind the tournament, and I see what the thought is, but I'm not really sure it is the right way to go with having a like one map takes 15 minutes. I think people might lose interest in that time, but also it might be interesting to watch the close fights, because it's supposed to be the 16 best players on this format, and it should be close rounds. So yeah, it's hard to say now, but it will. I hope it will turn out good anyway.
How much of the qualifiers did you watch, and if you follow most of them, do you have any favorites going into the beta season?
I only followed the German and French ones, because that was basically the only qualifier which was interesting.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, like the French one was incredibly close, and you could also the German one. We had like 4 players who were also very close. So it's hard to say, but over 10 stages, I would think, like, most people would say this tournament fits Bren perfectly. It's like this is his thing. So I think Bren has a good chance, and then we have like mainstream players like Kappa and Carl Jr. also have very good chance. I'm not sure how good Pack is on like endurance and multi environments, but if he is as good as he can be, he will for sure be a threat also. But my favorite would be actually Bren or Kappa.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, some people before the event didn't think that Kappa would have, or the endurance wouldn't fit him. But I don't think we have seen any endurance events in TrackMania where players actually put in time and effort before they join the endurance map. Normally it's like FPS Weekly, where you warm up for 50 minutes and then drive. So I also think Kappa will be one of the contenders for this event. But what do you think about... What, yeah, go ahead.
I actually doubted Kappa also. I didn't think he would make the qualis.
Oh, you're doubted. Never doubted.
But seeing him drive and his development the past year, like, to me, like, if he drives like this, there's no one who can stop him. He's just faster than everyone else. It's the simple as this at the moment. He's just faster than everyone else. Yep. And if he takes his raw skill from tech and puts it into this, he is gonna be a favorite.
Yeah, I did some. I was up all night actually trying to put down the times for people who drove the qualifiers and qualified. And Kappa had the best times on the 2 last maps, and then Bren had the best time on the first map. So I believe you picked the 2 right guys as the favorites, right?
Yeah, I think they are pretty fair picks, and
Yeah.
I think it's not so controversial either. Like those are the favorites to me.
Who would you say is the player that the normal tech player that doesn't suit this format? Is there a profile that we will miss out on in this endurance format?
Out of the ones who qualified, uh, it's it's really hard because out of the ones who qualified, most players are actually quite quite good at everything.
Yeah.
I don't really have the list in my head, but I don't see anyone who will struggle much on this. To be fair, out of the tech players.
So, what do you think about a beta season lasting for, let's say, the first half of the year? Is that something that you are positive about, or is there improvements to do?
I think it could be a bit shorter, and also since the quali was for the even qualifiers, it was quite random. Like look at Massa,
Yep.
he had one mid-road bug, which makes him not playing the entire tournament for half a year. And I think it's not just his skill, but also you lose a profile for the tournament and a big organization. So I think maybe if you had a bit more more qualifiers, more opportunities to go through, you could have such a long season. But I think it would be better to have a short season. But yeah, it's what is done is done.
Yep. And by the looks of the Discord channel, it seems like both Hillis and SoftDB agrees that it should be more steps in the qualifiers because it lasts for such a long season. But let's move over to another topic, and a topic that is linked to this event. What do you think is the current state of TrackMania? Are we going to move forward in 2019, or would 2018 stand out as a better year where you had Giant Cup, you had the TrackMania World Championship at Paris Games Week, and so on?
To be fair, I think the positive trend will continue. If you look at TrackMania Masters team tournament, which will start soon, there is at the moment 50 registered teams, which is the best number since TrackMania 2 got released. So it's the best number for 5 years by quite a margin. So I think the game is on its way back again, which is really nice to see, with also so many organizations joining the scene and a lot of lands. Gamers Assembly having even full speed and dirt and canyon this year. I think we can see a positive trend at the moment.
Is there some things that you need to, or you see as taking or need to be in place before TrackMania takes the next step? If you were the developer, what would you put your focus into?
If I was the developer, I would organize a big World Cup with much prize money. Not 3,000 euros, sure, but I think if you increase it to the old days, their interest would be much bigger, and I think also from outside of TrackMania, the organizations and the public would view it as bigger, because now people look at 3,000 euro for a world championship, that is nothing. And I don't really want to focus on the money aspect, but that is a big reason. And also to focus on having a real proper World Cup is a big purpose, I think.
Yeah, let's talk about the World Cup. Did you follow it, and what is your overall view on TrackMania being back at Paris Games Week?
I watched it, and it was really nice to see, except for the computers being quite bad apparently.
Yeah.
People having to switch computers constantly.
Yep.
But yeah, I think it was very nice to see the game back, and especially I wasn't there myself, of course, but seeing it on a big stage and with a big audience, I think it was really cool and important to have that back.
If you had an ultimate goal, would that be to play in such a stage at the World Championship in a grand final?
Yeah, for sure. I would love that. I wanted to play this year, but it was the worst. I had 2 important exams just at like those 2 days where I had to be gone. So how much I wanted it, I would lose like half a year of my uni, so it was not possible, fortunately.
Yeah, how long do you actually think that you can play Trackmania and put time and effort into it? Because we know that sometimes life will be more important, life requires more time. How long do you see yourself playing Trackmania?
I think it will not be a matter of time, but more a matter of motivation, because uh, you don't need to. I mean, you need to put time in Trackmania, but I think if you plan your time, it will not affect your real life too much. So I think when I stop, the reason will not be time, but it will be other interests or motivation.
You are my first guest since I hosted the Trackmania Awards. How much did you follow it of it, and how? What is your view on the winners if you have a list of it?
Yeah, I did follow some part. You
Yeah.
know, it was for yeah.
I put you on the spot here. If you didn't follow it, I will sort of throw you under the bus.
No. I did follow some of it, but it was during 24 days.
Yep.
So it was like, and the categories which I don't follow, like Valley Player of the Year, and such categories, I did not really focus on. But it was cool to see, though, that there was a new episode each day, that you could see what it was about and who was nominated and stuff. So yeah, it was a good thing to have.
So the topic or the discussion is: should it be one big episode, or should it be like this year when you have 24 episodes, one day each day until Christmas Eve? What would you prefer?
I think that this was a better format, because fitting everything into one episode, like 1.5 hour, I think people would not take the time to listen. They were just like, oh, 1.5 hour, I don't have time to listen to that.
Exactly.
But now when it's like 5 minutes every day, everyone have the time, and they can just check the nominees, vote, and then they don't even have to watch the video. So I think this year's system was actually very good.
And I said in the intro that you can be possibly one of the breakout stars this year, someone who can be one of the top players. If you had to look at the other players who are not at the moment in the top, in the names like Pac, Kappa, Carl Jr. and so on, but the level up below them, who would you say we should look after this year?
I think one guy who I actually tried to recruit, who is in venture right now, Kimi, will become really dangerous. He is incredibly fast and he has not played for too long. And then we also have Matt in runtime. If he finds his consistency, he can become one of the carry players in their team, I think, and even better. And then for the rest, I'm not really sure. I think those are the two. Together with maybe if Piranha levels up his game even more. Because I played against him in Giant Cup, and he was really consistent, and he was good. So I think he can also become... So yeah, those are the three for me, I would say. Piranha, Matt, and Kimi.
I'm running out of questions, but is there a topic in Trackmania that you feel should be highlighted and should get more attention that it does at the moment?
A topic. I would say, like as I said before, to have a big tech world championship is something that we should focus on, and I hope this Trackmania Champions League will not replace that, because like when you look at how it is announced, it seems like a new World Cup, and that would be the first time ever that we have a World Cup which is not in tech. So I really hope that they will focus on that, because that is the biggest platform with the most viewers, and I think it's the easiest one to follow also. So that is what I hope for.
Like 2 years ago, when the Razer Cup was really getting big offline, I had this idea or dream that the day before this Razer Cup takes place, you have the World Championship. tech is displayed, because you know that already 6,000 TrackMania fans will go there and watch TrackMania. Day one, they can see what the competitive scene is about, and then the next day they see what the fun Serrated Cup is all about. Because I feel like you're not really showing people what the true esport of TrackMania is like.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea, because Serator is very good at organizing events. You know, he like every cup he has done, it has been so good in terms of organization and just structure. And I think if people saw the like real scene, they would like it as well, because maybe it's not as how do you say, funny and show off, but in pure skill you can see like people will get how do you say, like impressed.
Yeah.
And will take further interest in it.
And I guess that will be easier to attract international viewers, because traveling to France just to watch one event would be kind of expensive. But if it's a weekend, then maybe it will motivate more people to go and watch both events.
Yeah, that is true actually. Yeah, you have something going on here. That's a good idea.
I'm just waiting for Serrated to hire me. I see him releasing Carl Jr. and Bren, making room for Mr. NMD here.
He would not be disappointed.
Let's see. Do you have anything else before we close the show here?
No, I just want to thank you for doing the podcast, and I hope that the event this weekend will end up in a good way.
Yeah, let's see. Maybe on Monday I have to do another interview with you, because you are the winner.
That's some big pressure. But yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man, for stepping up, and best of luck to you this weekend. I believe you are one of the favorites, if you are looking at the odds and the bets.
Thank you.
See you, man.
See ya. Have fun.